Good afternoon. Today we are continuing with Unit 2, working on CO10. I can apply the order of operations on expressions with rational numbers. So using your best movie voice, say, imagine a world without rules for solving equations. Consider the following. 3 plus 4 times 7 equals 49. Or 3 plus 4 times 7 equals 31. Wait a minute. This is math. Can we have different answers for the same equation? No, you sure cannot. This is math. Math, we have a right, correct answer. This is it. Focus. Focus. Body's facing up front. So there is a correct answer and an incorrect answer here. Who thinks they know which one is the correct one? Tegan. What?
I might be wrong, I think the 49 is right.
Okay, so why do you think the 49 is correct?
I just briefly popped in 3 plus 7 is 7 times 7 is 49.
And it's super easy to read a math equation, the same way we read our sentences. To go from left to right. 3 plus 4 is 7, and then times 7 equals that 49. We're reading from left to right. That would be if we don't have any rules and we just go straight left to right. But we know that the order of operations is important, because without the order of operations, we could say, oh yeah, reading left to right, that works. But because of the order of operations, we know there's only one correct answer. Because the order of operations we do is PERMDAS. So we are going to learn, it is not rational, you were close. You're close. We are going to learn what PERMDAS stands for with our Khan Academy accounts. It is part of our password. We need to know it and how to use it to see why 31 is the correct and only answer. So in PERMDAS, the P stands for parentheses. So that is its own level. That is the first level we do. That is the first level we do. We look for any parentheses. Then we look for exponents. Not rational. Radicals. Who knows what an exponent is? Gus.
The opposite of a radical. Wow.
You are correct. Who can take it a step farther? So when we have, we'll do it in a different color. When we have, let's say, 7 squared. That little number up to the right is our exponent. So 7 squared would be 7 times 7, right? 7 to the 4th would be 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. That's our exponent, that little number up to the top. So our radical, instead of squaring, we find the square root. We find the square root. So if we have the square root of 49, we're looking at what number times itself would equal 49. So square root of 49 would be what, James? 7. Okay. So they are opposite. 7 squared, square root of 49, they're connected. Okay, so exponents and radicals. Then we have multiply, divide. That is a level. When we are reading our level, It doesn't matter which one we come to first. This is important. It doesn't matter as I'm going, I always read from left to right. It doesn't matter if I hit dividing or multiplying first. They're on the same level. Same thing with adding and subtracting. Doesn't matter which one I hit first. I read from left to right. So if I hit a subtracting before the adding, that's okay. Just going from left to right. If all the operations in the equation are the same height, you work from left to right. So if we're on a level with exponents and radicals, whichever one you hit first. You're on the level of multiplying or dividing, it's whichever one you hit first, going from left to right. And if we're on adding or subtracting, it's whichever one you hit first. I believe I have a Khan Academy, that's order of operations assignment. You need to remember that, whichever one you hit first in that level. Yes?
Well, I just did it like how I did it, because it's like that. I just did multiplying first for the like multiplying and dividing because M first.
Yeah, and that's an easy mistake to make. To think, oh, because it says multiply, divide, I do any multiplying and then I go back and do any dividing. That's not going to get you the correct answer. Sometimes it works out to still be the correct answer, but there will be times it does not work out correctly that way. So you want to be careful with that. It's super, super easy. Mateo and I got in a big discussion about this when he was your age, because he said, no, it says multiply, then divide. I said, there's no then written in there. It doesn't say multiply, then divide. It says multiply, divide. It's on the same level. Chance.
Can we use a calculator to check our work?
So let's get through our lesson first, and then we'll talk about checking, okay? So if we look back up at our problem up here, we see there's a multiplying before adding. So we have to multiply. 4 times 7 is 28. Then we add our 3. So it'd be 3 plus 28. And that is why it can only be 31 for the correct answer. Because we have to multiply. That's a level up from adding or subtracting. You have to multiply before you can add. So I am going to show you how I want you to show your work when we do our order of operations. Now this is super important because I always have friends who say, oh, I know how to do this. I'm going to do mental math. I'm going to do it in my head. I'm going to do it with a bunch of equal signs everywhere. And then we get into more complicated math. And because they don't do it the way that I showed you, simple mistakes start happening. And I want us to start with the simpler problems, doing all of the steps. So when we get to the more complicated math, we're able to do all of the steps. James.
May I like a paralysis so I know what to do first? So I go over them so I don't make a simple mistake.
I'm going to show you what you're going to do. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to solve this. And this is truly what I expect to see. I do not want to see mental math. No mental math. I don't want to see equal signs. What? No equal signs? What? Let me show you why. We are going to do our little lines. So we have PERMDAS. Now you have it close on your paper. I had to scroll up, so I'm rewriting it. Draw in the lines so you remember what's on what level. Okay, so you can easily draw those lines in so you know if they're on the same level or not. So I'm going to look at my first equation and say, are there any parentheses? Nope. Are there any exponents or radicals? Nope. Are there any multiplying or dividing?
Yes.
Yes. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw those lines to say this is the first thing I do is 4 times 3. What is 4 times 3? 12. Now I'm going to bring down the rest of my equation because there's no other multiplying or dividing. So I'm going to bring 12 plus straight down. And I know it seems like a lot of work when we can do it in our head, but we must get used to doing it, all the steps, rewriting it again and again until we can get down to our answer. Now I'm down to just one operation, the adding. So if it's just one operation, I'm doing 12 plus 12 is what? 24. There are no other operations to do. I can see that I used the 4 times 3. I can see that I used the 12 plus that answer of 12. So now I'm down to my answer of 24. So instead of drawing in parentheses, James, we're just going to work our way down till we get to that final operation. So that way we know we didn't miss an operation or miss one of our numbers. So let's look over at this one with parentheses. We have 20 divided by parentheses 3 plus 2 parentheses. What is the first step I'm going to do, Evan?
Add 3 plus 2.
Why am I going to do adding? Adding's at the end. Because it's in the parentheses. That parentheses tells me I have to do it first. So I'm going to draw my lines. What is 3 plus 2? 5. Now I'm going to bring down the rest of my equation because there are no other parentheses. So now I know I'm doing 20 divided by 5, which is 4. And I know that I've done all of my steps. Now we're going to come down to a little bit more complicated one. 6 minus parentheses 4 plus 2 parentheses squared divided by 3. What is my first step? Gus?
Find what 4 plus 2 is.
Yeah, first I have to do my parentheses. 4 plus 2 is 6. There are no other parentheses, so I'm going to bring everything else down and just rewrite that equation. So 6 minus, I've got my squared exponent there, divided by 3. So what is my next step? Emily. We don't have to add anything. What is the operation I need to do next? So we took care of parentheses. So now I'm at the exponents radicals level. Do we see any exponents or radicals? Yes, I see that it's 6 squared. What is 6 squared, Aiden?
36.
36. So 6 squared is 36. There are no other exponents or radicals, so I'm going to bring down the rest of my equation. Oh, and it's not 30. It's 36. Sorry about that. Now, what is my next step? There's no more exponents or radicals. So now what do I do, Ben?
Divide.
We're going to divide because we're at multiplying and dividing, and we see there's a dividing. 36 divided by 30. What is 36 divided by 3? Emily. 12. So now I'm going to bring down my 6 and my minus. I have one operation left. Now I'm writing it really big, so I'm running out of room. What is 6 minus 12? Evelyn? -6. I know because I drew my lines. I know I took care of every single operation, every single number. Tegan? It's not 6, it's 36.
Oh.
36 divided by 3 is 12. Any other questions on that one? When you come to this order of operations, it is super important, super important that we go one step at a time. Bring down the rest of the equation. Do your one operation at a time, bring down the rest of the equation. Because when we have multiple numbers, multiple operations that we're doing, it does get complicated. So do it one step at a time. It is possible for each expression below to equal 30, but not as they are written. This time we are going to add parentheses where necessary to change the order of the solving process so that each one of these equations equals 30.
What?
So you will have to figure out where to put the parentheses to make it equal 30. Sometimes you have to put 2 sets of parentheses to make it work. But you are only adding parentheses to these equations and they will each equal 30. So let's look at our first one. 5 plus 5 times 3. What do you think we have to do to make it equal 30? Where can I put parentheses? Priya?
You put parentheses around the 5 plus 5.
5 plus 5 is 10 times 3 is 30. So if we have 10 times 3, because 5 plus 5 is 10, times 3, every single one you should be able to work down to equal 30. And then you need to answer the bottom one. Write 2 expressions, each with 4 operations from PERMDAS. Make one expression equal 25 and the other equal 100. So it's kind of like doing the 5-card challenge, but one is going to equal 25, one's going to equal 100, and you get to pick the numbers that you're using with your order of operations. So in the 5-card challenge, you're given certain numbers to equal that amount. This time you can choose which numbers you want. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of possibilities. So we will go over those answers tomorrow. James?
So you have to go through each sec. You have to do each letter.
You're going to do 2 expressions
Okay.
using 4 operations. You can repeat some of the operations, but it needs to, so let's say I don't want to do one of the ones that you have to do with the 25 or 100. Let's say we wanted it to equal 50. Who could come up with a set as 4 operations that would equal 50? Emily? Yes.
Would you have to use 4 in total or 4 in each?
4 operations for your first one to equal 25, 4 operations for your second one to equal 100. So you have to use 4 operations. So let me move this up and let's work it through with 50 and see if we can figure out what we can do. So we are going to equal 50 as our magic number to equal. Evelyn? 25 plus 25.
Divided by 5.
That's 3 operations. We need 1 more. And let's see if this works.
Oh, wait,
So,
wait. Times 11 minus 5. Times 1.
times 11. Okay, let's see if this works.
Besides, I like to get rid of the 10.
So first we have to get rid of this.
Get rid of that part, yeah.
Okay. So 25 divided by 5 is 5 times 11 is 55. Then we have 25 plus 55 minus 5. Because you have to multiply and divide before you can add and subtract. So if you want to use parentheses, you can. So maybe you said 25 plus 25 divided by 5 times 11 minus 5. So if we put in those parentheses, so we're going to add first. Let's see if that works. 25 plus 25 is 50. then divided by 5 times 11 minus 5, so 50. 50 divided by 5 is 10 times 11.
Oh, wait.
Yep. It's not as easy as we think. Okay, this is going to take some thought as we're working it out. Anybody else have a quick thought on how we could get to 50? Tatum?
Now I know. I just have to change one more number.
Yep. Gus?
Well, I mean, you could do 50 plus 0 times 0 divided by 0.
50 plus 0. So, do you think I'm going to accept all the multiplying and dividing by zeros and ones?
No.
So, we have to be careful with that. I'll give you 1. Okay? I'll give you 1. Multiply by 1, divide by 1. Add 0 minus 0. I'll give you that one time in your equation. Because that's the easy gimmies, right? All right. For my friends watching at home, we hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon.